The first time our house was robbed, it was our neighbor who climbed in through the dining room window and stole our TV and VCR, and the Purple Rain and Thriller videotapes that my father had bought back from vacation. The second time our house was robbed, it was my brother.
We've been robbed.
I sat alone in my room upstairs and realized what the queasiness in my gut was. Matt had done it, I knew, and my father knew too.
Son, where were you when this happened?
It was... What? You think I did it?
No.
He walked out the back door and did not come home that night, or the next night, or the night after. 2 weeks later, he came home, gaunt, smelling of beer, crying, saying he was sorry.
Son,
I'm so sorry. I found the jewelry. It's gone.
how much did they give you for my jewelry? What you did was inappropriate, son. In order to punish you, you're gonna have to write a report on everything that you sold, how much you got for it, what you spent it on, and who you spent it with. That he could hurt his mother like that.
A boy would leer at a girl who turned out to be the girlfriend of a Phi Gam, and that boy, as he walked to a kiosk later to buy a cigarette, would be stabbed in the thigh. He turned out to be a beta, and so one of his fellow betas would go to a beer parlor and shoot the nearest Phi Gam in the leg. And the next day, another beta would be shot dead in the dining hall, his body falling onto the table. And that evening, a Phi Gam, a professor's son, would be hacked to death in his room, his stereo splattered with blood. It was insane. It was so abnormal that it quickly became normal. Girls stayed in their rooms after classes, and lecturers quivered, and when a fly buzzed too loudly, people jumped.
How's work?
It's going well. I'm enjoying it. How's your son?
Oh, Matt's doing great. He just got into university.
You know, he's such a bright young boy. Why'd you waste some of your beauty on him? What's a boy gonna do with all that beauty?
It started with Matt breaking the window of a classroom with a stone. My mother gave him the money to replace it and didn't tell my father. Then, my brother took the key to my father's car and pressed it into a bar of soap to take to a locksmith. My father found it before he took it to the locksmith, and my mother just made excuses for him. He stole the exam questions and gave them to my father's students. My mom yelled at him and just gave him less pocket money. It was noon. I was in a class nearby, and when we heard the shots, our lecturer was the first to run out the door. There was loud screaming, and suddenly the stairwells were packed with scrambling students, unsure where to run. Outside, the bodies lay on the lawn. This did not make sense to me, since the shooting had happened in sparkling daylight, and perhaps it did not make sense to Matt either, because the first night of curfew, he did not come home.
Which
Do you have a nut?
I do.
He's under arrest.
Okay.
I often wondered if he was in a cult.
Honestly, America would be so much better if we ran it like my cell. There's a chief and a second in command, and you better have money with you when you come in, or you're gonna have a problem.
Do you have any money?
He smiled, his face more beautiful than ever.
We should have done this when he stole your jewelry.
Why?
Because this has shooken him up. He's learning his lesson.
He was shocked to learn about the cell farthest away from his, Cell 1. We visited him every week. Each day my parents became more silent. By the second week, I was fed up with it.
Mom, we're not going to see Matt today. It is way too expensive. It takes up way too much time. Like, he needs to learn how to fend for himself.
Fine, if you want to sit around and do nothing while your brother sits
Mom.
in jail, go ahead.
Mom! Mom! Stop!
Something wrong?
So the other day, they pushed this old man into my cell, like, had to be 70 years old. He's got fully white hair, and he didn't even do anything. His son is wanted for robbery. This guy didn't do anything, though.
Well, you didn't do anything either.
He can't even afford water to take a bath outside, and he's in here now? How long do you think he's gonna last, this old, weak, shriveled up man?
Well, how long has it been since he's seen his son?
He hasn't seen his son in months. They're gonna question him, and he's not gonna know anything.
It's terrible that this is happening, but officers do this all the time. If they can't find who did it, they will bring in a relative.
You don't get it. He's sick, okay? The other day, the police splashed soapy water all over the floor of our cell, and this guy hasn't taken a bath in so long that he takes his shirt off and starts rubbing his back on the floor. And the police thought that was so funny and hilarious that they made him strip off all his clothes and go out in the hallway and walk around for them. And that's just not right. You just can't do that.
May I speak to his police officer?
I am a police officer. How can I help
Can you read my son's release papers?
Sure. There's a complication with your son.
What do you mean? Where is my son?
Someone will call you to explain it.
What do you mean? What happened to my son?
Where's our son?
It's no problem. We just transferred him. I can take you to him.
Why was he transferred?
I was not here when it happened, but apparently he misbehaved yesterday, so they moved him to cell 1. And yesterday evening they moved everyone in cell 1 to another location.
Cell 1? Cell 1? Why was he transferred?
Take me to my son right now.
Okay. Follow me.
Okay, so for O2, you guys put slightly up to.
What did they do to you? What did you guys do to him?
You can't raise your children properly. You all work at the university, so you all feel important that you think your children don't deserve to be punished. You're lucky they released him.
You should go.
Yesterday, the policeman asked the old man if he wanted a free bucket of water, and he said yes. So they told him to strip and parade outside in the corridor, and most of my cellmates were laughing. But some said that it was wrong to treat an old man like that, and I agreed. So I shouted at the guards and told them that it was wrong and that he was innocent and sick, and they weren't going to get any information about the son from him. But they told me to shut up, or they would take me to cell 1. And I didn't care, so I didn't shut up. So they took me to cell 1.
Matt did not say what happened to him in Cell 1, or what happened to him at the news site. It would have been so easy for him, my charming brother, to make a sleek drama of his story, but he did not.